Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today I have for you um, a video about why I love coins so much, and a video just about old coins and the things that you get to learn and see and find, and just how cool they are. So for those of you who are a little bit familiar with some of the world coins out there, you may look at this coin and recognize it and say, hey, that's isn't that Portugal? Portugal, right? And so it's a little dark. I'm going to get my light here wrong or right or something so we can look a little closer here. The big 20, 1866. Look at the floral design on the numbers. Isn't that fun? And then you read the Latin around the edges. Portugal et Altraporium. So this is really such an interesting coin because at first blush it looks like it is just from Portugal, but it's actually from Azores, which is an island archipelago 740 miles to the west of Portugal, with a total square footage of about 900 square miles between all the little volcanic islands. And it's cool, right? I mean, you got to think about that 1866, and who's living there and what's happening. That just seems like a pretty wild thing for me, because I think about small islands. I don't think about islands 700 miles to the west of Portugal. I mean, we think about some other places that are not that. Next up, speaking of places that aren't places, right? One of my favorite coins ever, this half stiver. Colonies of Essequibo and Demariaria. I'm going to say it that way. Token, but it's a half stiver token. 1813. All right, so who's in charge here? Let's see who's on the other side of this. Hey, look at that. Anybody know this guy? King George III. Interesting place. So, of course, I remember getting these coins a long time ago, and I thought that they were from Africa, which is really funny because, once you learn the history a little bit, you're like, oh, wow. So this is actually the area that was partly Suriname, French Guyana, Brazil, and Venezuela, and then it eventually became between the Brits and the French fighting over it for a while, and the Dutch eventually became British Guyana in the 1830s, and then in the 1950s eventually became Guyana. Like in 1970, I think Guyana officially became its own place. So pretty wild. You can collect countries that don't exist anymore, or countries that do exist. And so this is funny because this one actually took me a while, because I thought it was a token. 1840, 2 reals, because I thought it was a token because it says Viva la Federación, which is fascinating here because it's actually from Buenos Aires, Argentina. 2 reals, Casa de Moneda. It's actually in the normal Kraus book. So I thought that it was actually in the token book, just because of everything about it made me think it was a token or private issue, since it said Viva la Federación and then it said, Casa de Moneda, and I just thought it was not legal tender, or I don't know. I'm not always sure how Kraus decides to put stuff in a book or gets put in a token book. But there's so much history to learn from all these little guys here, and this is one of my all-time favorites. Like, this is, you got, for those of you who know, there's Umberto, and we're not invoking soccer shorts here. We're actually talking about this fella, right, with the beautiful mustache. He was before his time, right? He'd fit in today. 1890, Italy. Yeah, there he is. Crown, big silver coin. Then the other side of the coin, it's like, colonies of Eritrea. 2 liras, and then so this has 3 languages on it, which I find to be amongst one of my favorite things about this coin. And it's the type of thing where if you wanted to just collect coins with multiple languages on it, I mean, obviously there's modern countries, I hear that Canada has a couple languages that are spoken there, but this to me is really intriguing when you have 3 languages on one coin. You talk about colonies, colonial era stuff, and all the influence over time. Eritrea, Ethiopian province, Italian colony from 1889 to 1936. I think then World War II happened, and a little bit after that kicked their butt. Became Italian East Africa for a while, and then in 1993, Eritrea became its own country. So interesting, really cool pieces of history. Most of these items are $40 to $100 type items. They're historically, to me, interesting. They're not just your typical everyday piece of numismatics, because the colonies, as people move and countries grow and colonies change, and it's just, to me, this is fascinating, and this is one of the things that I love so much about coins and coin collecting, is stuff like this. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.